football, just 3 fixtures survived, so we'll go through those now. In Canada Life Premier League, it was Colby 1, Douglas Royal 5, Peel 4, St Mary's 2. And in Canada Life Combination 1, big match at the top of the table, Russian United 2, Old Boys 3. Joining me in the studio is, firstly, Tony Mepham to have a bit of a look through those matches. Good evening, Tony.
Evening, Ed.
And in Canada Life Premier League, just the 2 matches survived, but both of them were important in a way. Certainly, let's go to this one first at Colby, the game that you were at. Bottom of the table clash, and we were saying at lunchtime that this was very important for both sides given the situations they're in.
A huge game, and when you look at the league tables this morning, when you look at Colby 7 points, Douglas Royal on 5. Douglas Royal with their first win last week against Braddon, and then today going into the game with a lot of optimism because last week's performance was really good. And speaking to Chris Feeney, he was hopeful that they were going to do it, and I thought they would. I said that at lunchtime, and they did it in style in the end. It was a great start by Royal, and I just thought, right, this is going to go one-way traffic. But then suddenly Colby clawed themselves back into it and played some really good football. But then once the goals started, that was it. And Jack Kamada got a couple of goals. His second one was an absolute belter from, I would say, about 20 edge of the box it was, and struck it, hit the bar, came back down. And to me, it was a goal all the way because it came back out. And gladly, Peter Kane was in a great position on the far side, the official. And the goal was awarded. Sean Traylor with a goal. Again, I felt sorry for the goalkeeper, Adam Kinvig, because Sean hit it well. And Adam was racing back to try and claw it out of the goal, but he didn't quite get there. And I think the keeper actually sort of finished it off and put it over the line. But it was going in anyway. But Lucas Simmons, I like his strike. And these names, Jack Kamada, Lucas Simmons, and also Taylor Andrews, take note of those because they've only just turned 16. And to have the audacity to have an effort from 25 yards at 16 years of age, he did it really well, struck it, goalkeeper couldn't hold it, and it went under his legs to go in, and it was just comfortable there on for Douglas Royal. Jordan Primrose Smith was probably the key player for Colby in the second half after it was just one of those. They couldn't really close Douglas Royal down, and the substitute that came on, Taylor Andrews, he's small. Well, when I say small, he's not small in height, but he just looks like a young boy. And to finish like he did, and
a slip of a lad.
Jack Kamada just played the ball through to him, and he finished it off. It was like a finish from a 20-year-old, not from a 16-year-old. And the future looks really bright for Douglas Royal. Colby had no answers, and now Colby have got to concentrate on a big game next week against Ramsey because you can't afford to lose against the teams you're battling with. And Douglas Royal today have showed that they mean business and want to stay in the Premier League.
Indeed, and that means that Douglas Royal have played 11, they now have 8 points, Colby have played 13, 7 points, so Douglas Royal have leapfrogged Colby with that victory today. Further up the table, Peel were one of the other teams in action, and they had the chance to go level with Corinthians, both on games and on points at the top of the table. And we were saying at lunchtime, I pointed out that the difference in the goal difference was 8, so they needed to get 8 to properly draw level or 9 to go ahead on goal difference. Well, in the first 10 minutes of this match, it looked like Peel had gone out there on a mission because they went 3-0 up incredibly quickly, and then we end up with a 4-2 game. It just seemed to fizzle out after that a little bit, I think. Yeah,
they came out the tracks running. I think it was 3-0 after 15 and 4. They had the fourth goal after 18 minutes, but St Mary stuck at it. Stephen Priestland got 2-1 from the penalty spot, but Sean Kelly, who, not a criticism, he is a really good player, but has been a bit light on goals, I think, this year. And he got 2 last week. He's got 3 today. And looking the Sean Kelly that we all know because he's an Ireland player written all over him. And Danny Bell as well. He looked sharp at Ireland training on Wednesday. And he did the job again today with another goal. So it doesn't matter to Peel. That's another 3 points. They're on the same points now as Corinthians. And the St George's, it's that little bigger gap. And I know what people say. Games played, points in the bag are more important than games in the hand, but you still got to look behind at Russian, who've only played 8. You look at St George's, you look at even further back then at Douglas High School Old Boys, they've only played 8 as well. it's all there to play for those, I think, 5 teams, because the champions are going to come from those 5.
Yeah, things are getting very interesting there. Yeah, it was an incredible start. I was following it on Twitter thanks to the Manx Footy blog. Sean Kelly scored after 1 minute.
Yeah.
After 10 minutes, Daniel Bell put them 3-0 up after 13. Then Priestnall's goal, Steve Priestnall's first goal, the penalty, came on 15. So yeah, we'd had the 4 goals in 15 minutes. And I think there was nothing until midway through the second half. It's very strange how these things work out sometimes.
Well, the way it was explained to me was that Peel's forward line were immense, and St Mary's defence played really well. And when you look at St Mary's team, they've done well. Like last week, they were 3-0 down at half time and then came back 3-3. That's impressive. But then when you look further back, they've struggled, that game against Colby. And that just shows you how they are Jekyll and Hyde. And without Alex Harrison today, their player manager, they've done well.
Yeah, so that means that, as I said, Peel now played 11 for 25 points, same as Corinthians. Peel on a plus 20 goal difference, Corinthians on plus 26. St Mary's remain in 8th place. They've played 13 matches. They have 14 points. And again, there's that big contrast between their home records and their away. At home, they've won 3, drawn 1, lost 1. Away, won 1, drawn 1, now lost 6. That's the Jekyll and Hyde that you're talking about there,
That's
isn't
the
it?
one.
Absolutely. Yep. Okay, and the other game. Now, we don't get to highlight the combination football that much these days, but this is well worth doing because this was a big match at the top of Combi 1 for Russian against Old Boys. Russian, until last week, had a 100% record after I think it was something like 11 matches, wasn't it? And they drew last week against St George's, and now this week they've lost their unbeaten record.
Yeah, and when you look at the way the scoring went on this one as well, because Russian were 1-0 up early on, Jamie Johnson with the goal, and then David Quirk equalised 1-1. Jamie Johnson got the second, 2-1. And it was 2-1 for a long, long time. But then I don't know what happened, whether it was fitness or what. But Mikey Booth got one. I think you've got the third goal scorer.
Jay Corrin,
yeah. And he got the other one. So that's a cracking result for Old Boys. Puts them right back in it. They're on the same points now, I think, as Corinthians.
Yes.
But there's still those few points it is behind Russian. But it's a game in hand that they had that's now been pegged back. So it opens it up nicely.
Indeed. So now Russian United have played 14. They've got 37 points. Corinthians, who didn't play today, obviously, they have played 11. They've got 30 points. And Old Boys now have played 11 and have got 30 points. The goal difference for Old Boys is plus 26. For Corinthians, plus 47. So there's some way to go in that regard. But level there. So things shaping up very nicely at the top of Combi 1 as well, and Old Boys defending champions, aren't they? So they'll be delighted to have got that win today.
Well, it was, and the phone calls were coming through this morning. Is the game on? So I think they knew that they had a good team, and I think Russian, I'm not sticking up for them, got caught out a little bit today because last week against St George's there's 1 or 2 players who probably would have played today. Weren't available because obviously the first team didn't play. But that's the way it happens. That's how the cookie crumbles. But it's great because, before that we kept saying, not St George's, Russian could go all the way, possibly undefeated. And there they go, similar to St George's first team, where they've dropped so many points in 2 games. And it does give everyone else a little bit of a lifeline that they've got a chance to possibly take the trophy away from the others.
Indeed, right. So, those are the 3 matches done and dusted today. We're going to take
like them, don't we?
Well, it makes life very, very easy when you're taking the scores downstairs on your own, I tell you.